And good Saturday morning, kind of. It is noon here on Saturday, October 17th. We are continuing our conversations with the candidates, bringing as many candidates to you as we can so you are an informed voter. Speaking of voting, in-person voting has already started at local city and town halls. Today, we are going to be spending a couple minutes chatting with Portsmouth Town Council candidates. And I'm looking over this way because I am just checking the latest data. And 671 Portsmouth residents have already voted early at Portsmouth Town Hall, and 60 have already voted by mail for a total of 731. And by far the most active, I think it's the highest total for Newport County of voters, and with some of the quieter races. When I say quieter races, there are 8 candidates running for 7 seats on Portsmouth Town Council. And we are chatting with the vice president of the Portsmouth Town Council, Linda Ujifusa. And good afternoon. How are you?
Hi, I'm great, Ryan. Thanks so much for hosting this.
Of course. And people are getting out to vote in Portsmouth.
Yes, they are. And I guess this interview won't affect those folks who already voted, but I really appreciate the opportunity to address the voters who haven't voted yet.
Of course. And, to give you a little background in Portsmouth, in the viewers in Portsmouth, there were 4,185 mail ballots out there. So there a vast majority of the people still have to vote. So you haven't missed out yet. And I believe that people are doing their homework before they go out to vote. So hopefully they are. For those who may have just moved to Portsmouth, voting for the first time in Portsmouth, or just haven't been paying attention, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Right. So I was originally from San Jose, California, but I've been on the Portsmouth Town Council since 2016. My family moved here in 1993, and we raised our 3 children here. And I'm married to my fellow town council person, J. Mark Ryan. So our children went to all the Portsmouth public schools, graduated Portsmouth High School, and their names were John, Katie, and Jamie Ryan. And I used to be a lawyer working in the private sector and then in the public sector for the United States Environmental Protection Agency. When we moved here, I've been involved in various community organizations, including the Aquidneck Land Trust. And so we are thrilled to be here. And I have to tell a quick story about picking Portsmouth as a place to live.
Please do.
So my mom and my whole family was living in San Jose, and I'm the only daughter. And they were very sad that we were thinking of moving, settling permanently on the East Coast. But when they saw Portsmouth, they actually relented and said, "Okay." So you got to figure this is an amazing town for my mom to have given in like that. So. Yeah,
it is. Compared to the rest of Aquidneck Island, the race for Portsmouth town government is quiet. You had 12 candidates running for 7 seats in. You had 19 candidates running for 7 seats in Newport, 18 running for 7 in Middletown. You got 8 running for 7. Does it show to what a great job the Portsmouth current council is doing? Why no other candidates are running? What is your take on only one extra candidate running?
So I actually believe that it is a vote of confidence in the folks that are currently on the town council. I mean, honestly, because usually folks run because they feel there needs to be change. And I think we've seen that this is not a year necessarily that discourages people from running because of so many races at the state level where, there were very contentious primaries. And so when people think there needs to be change, they will run. And so I'm not saying we're doing a perfect job by any means, but I do believe that we've been doing a very good job. And I also believe that it is a testament to all the folks that are currently on the council. I think we all respect each other. I think we are all thoughtful. We do our homework. So that's my take on it.
What do you believe, I guess right now in the upcoming 2-year term What are the biggest issues, opportunities for Portsmouth and its voters and residents?
I mean, the biggest issues, and I actually wrote a memo about this because I instituted this thing where we're going to start having a meeting where we discuss the town administrator's priorities. And I guess before we go too much farther, I do want to point people to www.portsmouthdemocrats.com/Ujifusa, and you will find more information about me, but also I have links to some of these memos I might be referencing. So I did write a memo about what I thought the priorities should be, and the top ones, include dealing with our roads, of course, because many constituents are concerned about, and I call them our roads, but in fact they are state roads. East Main Road, West Main Road are quite scary, and so that will be a priority. We can't fix them as a town, but we can certainly advocate for the state to do a safety audit, which they've started, and really start pushing for more safety in whatever ways we can. So, for example, our local police department has tried to amp up its enforcement against speeding. I think you've seen those the police cars, the greater police presence. But anyway, so safer roads. The second thing would be our infrastructure, specifically our buildings, the Coggeshall School on East Main Road, and also the Ann Hutchinson School, which is the location for the senior center. We really need to figure out what to do with our buildings. We had a study which was completed just in 2019 of all of our town buildings. And so we are faced with quite a bit of deferred maintenance that we have to deal with. And so I think that's a huge priority, dealing with those buildings. And I also personally feel that, because we are located where we are, that we really need to be aware of and trying to deal as much as we can locally with climate change. And trying to make ourselves as resilient as possible in light of the very strong possibility that greater storm events will happen, and also more flooding in various areas. So I think that's an important thing to work on. And and we did get started over the last few years that I've been on the council. And yes, sorry to go on.
It's okay. As a sitting Portsmouth Town Council member, as a resident of the island, as a candidate, how much are you paying attention to all of the education talk on the southern part of the island, the regionalization talk, the unification talk, question 2 in Newport? How much are you as a resident, you as a councilor, paying attention to it?
Right. I've always been super interested in education, and I have been following those conversations. I also went to the State House several times because the Senate was conducting some hearings about how the new school funding formula would be created. And my take on it is that as a town, we were asked to consider talks with Newport about regionalization. And I guess it's a very complex issue for the following reason. One, even though on the one hand, you could say, yes, economies of scale, of course, it would make more sense that we could run more efficiently and economically a regionalized school district. The flip side is, wearing my Portsmouth Town Council person's hat, is that I have to make sure that our residents are not going to be charged more and get less. So, for example, that actually happened. We were part of the East Bay, I can't remember the exact name, but we were part of a group that was doing special education within Newport County, and that was a regionalized effort. And we were finding that the cost to Portsmouth residents was not equal to the gains that we were getting from being in that organization, and we withdrew. That said, it's not like there's no regionalization. There is, I know we buy food, for example, in bulk in cooperation with Newport and Middletown. And, you are well aware that we have students coming in from Little Compton. So there are efforts to regionalize where we can, and we are open to conversations, but it's a balancing act. And as far as the school funding formula is concerned, two big costs in Portsmouth have been for special education and also for transporting students from out of district. If you check the school budget, those are two really big items that were not covered under the school funding formula. And I think we could make efforts, at least at the town level, to influence the state to make sure that those kind of costs might be lowered for us by getting additional school funding. But let's be realistic. We are not a urban community with very low income and needy students or economically needy students. So it's a tough, it's not like we're going to necessarily be on the top of anyone's list to get state funding. So, it's a complicated issue. And I think it's important that we all stay educated and not just make demands without understanding the complicated nature of the issue.
It is complex, and I hope everybody voting in Newport as well as Middletown tries to put in a little bit of time trying to understand both sides of the issue, before going out to vote. When people go to vote in Portsmouth, obviously you want them to fill in the dot next to your name. There's one state question on the back of the Portsmouth ballot, and then there are 12 locals. Anything you want people to know about the 12 locals? Anything? Is it all just housekeeping, or is there anything important back there?
Well, I wrote up an explainer for all of those 12 or 13 questions. So if people want to go to portsmouthdemocrats.com and under issues, if they click that tab, they'll see an explanation of all of them. They pretty much are housekeeping changes, although I do feel that the way that we were putting people's names on the ballot, that was a kind of substantive change, because it used to be that they would be alphabetical or whatever, and I think so that's a substantive change. And also there are things that make the government more transparent. The budget is now supposed to be put online, not just in a newspaper. I think also, public records, that language in the old charter or in the current charter used to give the town council the opportunity to have an opinion that maybe we don't want to release certain documents, but that language is being taken out. So, that's a good thing. We want to be as open as possible and comply with the requirements of the state open access to documents law.
I'm not sure if we hit on it, so I'm going to ask you again. You want people to vote to reelect you. Why are you seeking reelection, and why should people vote for you?
Right. Okay. So I think I am seeking reelection. This is the absolute honest truth, because I love it. I think it's a huge privilege to be able to serve on the town council, and I have met such amazing, inspiring people in the course of doing this job. And so that is why I want to do it. And I have to say, I knocked on thousands of doors, and I've gone to just countless meetings and events from, hosted by private nonprofits in town. Also just, the businesses, and it's just been, it's so eye-opening to me that even though there's a lot of negativity floating around right now, that in this town, and so I suspect, throughout the country, but especially in Portsmouth, you just see so many people who are willing to give of their time and their energy and their just to help other people and to lift the community. And, I was going to call out some people, and then I thought, I'm going to leave some people out. But, just in no particular order, but, the Common Fence Point Association, the Melville Park Committee, Clements, there's so many different groups of folks that are just so giving, and that is so inspiring to me. And that's what makes me want to contribute to the community as well. And I also want to give a small shout out to folks that we were meeting, just knocking on doors. You know, there are folks who are taking care of children and elderly and people who have physical ailments, and they are also inspiring to me. They are courageous. They have such grace. And I just feel we live in a great community, and I have the luxury and the time to spend on the town council. And I feel like I want to do that for other people because they've inspired me so much. So that's
Great.
why. And why I want to, I guess, why should you elect me? I feel like I do my homework, and I love listening to people's stories. I can't remember names, but I pretty much can always remember your stories. And I think I'm fairly responsive about people's concerns because I do want to be able to help. And that's, I guess, a few of the things that have been accomplished under my tenure, which I hope will encourage people to vote for me, is that we really have helped the town planning and execution of plans with respect to capital improvements. And so that's a bunch of big words. Let me put it in a simpler way. And it was described to me by a Portsmouth resident who works for the Newport Preservation Society. He said, the way that the Preservation Society, and they handle all the mansions in Newport, right? They got all these mansions that weren't in great shape. And what they did is they had a big analysis of them done, and they were able to prioritize the work that needed to be done to fix them up. And so that kind of planning makes sense whether you're talking about just your own house or a town, right? And that is what we started to get done in 2019. We had what's called the Jacobs study do an assessment of all our town properties to see what condition they were in, what costs they have. And our town administrators started in 2017, 5-year plans. You know, so you make one from in 2017, 2018, whatever, each year, looking out 5 years to figure out how we should spend our money to go through the punch list of priorities to fix up our properties. And I think that kind of, I'm really proud that we were able to accomplish that because it's so fundamental to running the town well. Because without it, and this did happen a little bit, people who had the loudest voices, people who just felt like, I don't know, had pet projects would be able to put to the top of the list things that needed to get done. And that is not the way that we should be running our properties. So that's one thing I'm really proud of. Second thing is that resiliency, as I mentioned, with climate change is really important. And I helped write the application that got Portsmouth designated a resilient roadie municipality, which meant that we were able to apply for grant money, and we got $339,000 to help with work that we were going to have to do anyway, you know, to protect ourselves. I mean, for example, there's flooding at the entrance and egress to Common Fence Point. We got money to deal with that. And I think, you know, I'm a little bit of a tiger mom, even when it comes to our town. And what I see that there's grant money available, especially to do work that we would have to pay for anyway, I want to go after that because I do see other towns, including towns like Barrington or whatever, going after those funds. And I get this total, hey, what about us feeling? Yeah. And I am able to write grant applications. And so as our, you know, I mean, obviously the town staff did an amazing job. I don't mean to take all credit for it, but I feel like I did leave the movement to dive into that. And right, so it's just the opportunity to make sure that Portsmouth is protected and has access to funding that is available, that is not just taxpayer money. So there's Excellent. That.
If people want to ask you a question, get more information, chat with you, best way to get a hold of you?
So email is lujifusa@portsmouthri.com. You can also look for me at www.portsmouthdemocrats.com/Ujifusa, and contact information's there as well. And so I am open to hearing from everyone. I really miss not being able to see people in person. But there is kind of a weird benefit to this Zoom format, because I do think that there are people who have been attending our meetings and following along that haven't been able to in the past. They have the kids and the dogs in the background, but I really like that maybe as we move forward, we can have both, the live and the Zoom, to crank up people being able to participate. So
yeah, it's interesting. I attended a board of elections meeting yesterday virtually, and there were 55 people just on the Zoom, plus all the phone call. And I hope after COVID, and hopefully after COVID comes sooner than later, that cities and towns do look at continuing the virtual, because I do think a lot more people are participating in their local government.
Yes, I do too. And state government too.
And state government, and from school committee up to the governor's press conferences. I think that has been one positive that has come out of COVID, is things going virtual so people can participate in these things in their busy lives.
Right, exactly. Yes, I agree. But again, both would be nice, because I know there are some people who like to be there in person, but yes.
Awesome. Well, I wish you the very best of luck. I thank you for joining us here on this Saturday, and good luck on November 3rd. And we'll be chatting with you very soon.
Thank you. Take care.
All right. We'll see you around town.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye. And I want to thank Linda for joining us today. And if you missed any portion of this video, want to watch it, want to share it with friends, families, coworkers, neighbors, it's available on whatsupnewp.com. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.